Well, we went to New England and won for the first time in a long time, and they say it's meaningless. It's a win. I mean, I know it's sort of... I can't say that I was cared about this game as much as I have the other 15 games, but nonetheless, we went out there and we didn't completely crap the bed, as they say.
No, we played a good game. You know what? 9-7, not bad, right? Mike Shope on the radio on the way home. He says, I wish they would have lost so I don't have to talk to people like you. When he's talking to one of the fans on the way. Who are people? People like you, Nate? Is it people like... He doesn't want to talk to people like Nate.
Well, when you're
because
2-14,
he says it's not a big loss. It's not a big win. They took out Brady at halftime. It's a lot of the luster comes off of it, and they weren't trying to win the game. What about Bill Belichick throwing the red flag with 2 minutes left in the game? Do you think he wanted to win the game? He absolutely wanted to win the game. Was he pulling all the stops? Is he going to play his star tight end and risk losing him for the playoffs? No, but they were playing to win the game. They were playing every one of those guys on the field were playing to win the game.
Starting receiver ran that punt down in the third quarter. He was trying to score a touchdown.
Yeah, you don't think Garoppolo wanted to come in and prove that he's the next heir apparent to Brady? He wanted to play a good game?
Sure.
Absolutely.
And he looked okay.
We lost to the Pittsburgh team, that didn't have anything to play for. They keep talking about that game, all their backups. It turned out the running back who was a backup ended up being an all-pro.
Yeah, he was good for about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, he was a really good running back. So you're playing a strong team, with the backup quarterback. So what? You win 9-7. You win games. I don't care if you lose. If you win a game 2-0, and you have minus 157 yards. As long as you win, and they have to learn to win, and that's the bottom line with the Bills. And as it turns out, we lost to Oakland last week. It would have been really heart-wrenching if Baltimore would have lost that game today, because we would have been in the playoffs had we beaten just Oakland last week. But we are a couple games away, and the bottom line is, and there was a couple of remarks on our comments page below on YouTube that. Really don't blame Orton as much as the offensive line. And really, the offensive line has not come to play. We were the top rushing team last year, and we're one of the worst rushing teams this year. Even today, rushing the ball, Fred Jackson, 18 carries for 58 yards. Anthony Dixon, 7 carries for 27 yards. C.J. Spiller, they give it to him 5 times for 17 yards. You got to give Spiller the ball 15, 20 times. I don't understand why. I know they want to give it to Jackson, but give him the ball. The other part is... Watkins, he had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I mean, could be a good year.
Well, Spiller, by only giving him the ball 5 times. Now, I don't think the coach even thinks like this, but the reality is, after you only giving him to him 5 times and him having a lackluster year, his number goes down, and you're able to retain him for cheaper if you'd like.
Well,
and it's really not that bad of a strategy.
He's gone. No question about he's gone.
Yeah, someone will throw some money at him probably.
You got to sign guys like that in free agency before they go free agency.
Yeah, like last year.
Yeah, or in the middle of this year. But he's gone. But let's talk about Sammy Watkins. What kind of a year did he have?
Well, when you think about the year as a whole for most of the players, I mean, he was the leading rookie receiver in Bills history. You can't, even if he...
Just short of 1,000 yards.
Yeah, just short of 1,000 yards. What do you have, like 80 catches or something like that on the year? I mean, you could probably look it up. He had a very good year. Yeah. I don't care what we did to get him. It doesn't matter. The fact is, we had him. He was on the team, and he produced like the number 1 receiver. He was the best receiver we had, and that
absolutely,
proves his
I mean,
worth.
Their argument is, well, there's all these other receivers. We could have picked one of them. Who knows if any of those other receivers are really as good as they seem to be? I think we had Chris Burkett when Jim Kelly was a quarterback, and he looked like a pretty good receiver because Jim Kelly is hitting him in the hands every time he goes out. You're going to catch the ball. So I wonder what our guy, Sammy Watkins, would have done with like a Brady or with Peyton Manning or even his brother Eli Manning instead of that Odell Beckham. I'm sure he would have just as big a year as those guys if we'd have gotten the passes to him. And then he was injured early in the season, and he had Manuel throwing to him early, and they really weren't on the same page. So whatever it takes, it seems like to me he's an exciting player, and I'm glad we got him. I really wish we had a first-round pick next year, but I don't think we would have picked a quarterback with it. We're going to be someplace with 9 wins. We're going to be probably in the middle of the pack, like 15th or something, 16th.
Well, and what our record, 9-7. Last year, 6-10. So we are better. I mean,
Yes,
you have to
absolutely.
look at that big picture.
Yes.
Coaches aren't now; they're playing every game to win, but you're looking. You're playing long term. Now the line, I don't understand what happened. It was better last year than it was this year.
What
Most of the
happened
same
to that?
guys are there, and it's very hard to see what the problem is there. So
how much of a turnover should there be? We were talking before. Could you name all the coaches we've had since Marv Levy? Now the question here is, too. They're talking on the radio again. I keep yelling at Mike Shope. Mike Shope says, if I'm the owner, I want to have my own people in here. There's got to be some sort of a change. Chances are there won't be a change, but I think there should be, and I think they should make some changes. They've been getting on Marone for certain inadequacies. Certainly his offensive coordinator, Hackett, has not had a illustrious year, and they don't like all these fourth and shorts not going for him. But I mean, that one part of the game shouldn't make a difference. We talk about before that you have to outplay the other team by 20 or 30 plays. So one or two plays shouldn't make a difference in the game. If you punt those, if you're overall winning the rest of the part of the game. So making those fourth downs are almost like desperation types plays when you're on the edge and you're just trying to crawl over the edge. So you still want to be able to play.
Well,
but to continuity over the last, since Wade Phillips in 1998, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our sixth coach. So in
and what do you expect?
In 14 years, 6 coaches. They average in 2 years a year.
Right.
And I mean, those are huge turnovers.
Well, and you look at the overall team and you say, okay, now even a team like Seattle, they had a little bit more to even work with to start, and they didn't really, with Pete Carroll, make some gains. It took a few years before they made the playoffs, and then they got going.
If you look at, you look at a lot of rookie coaches early, like Landry, his first year with Cowboys, only a couple of wins. So that happens. But we had Wade Phillips. I got some of these pictures up here, so I got to get these guys in. Greg Williams, which I just thought he never could get those guys to learn how to win, just get on his same page. Mike Mularkey, he probably just was disgusted more than anything with management and how they were treating them and bringing players, and I think he kind of just bailed out. Dick Duran was just a bonehead. Perry Fuel, you picked him up. He had a couple of games. He ended up going to be the defensive coordinator, pretty good one over and winning the Super Bowl with the Giants after we got rid of him in 2009. 2010 to 2012, Chan Gailey, and Marone starts in 2013, and here we are in 2015.
Sure.
So do we want to just change a coach right now? Does that make any sense?
I don't think so, because I also think as much as there's first of all, the players play. So when you're not executing on 4th and 1, I mean, he's not blocking out there. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's not much else he can do. And then the plays are supposed to be executed a certain way. We don't even know what certain guys are supposed to be doing on a certain play. So how can we say it's very much a place of ignorance to talk about that?
Yeah, but that's why when Dick Duran was on the team, I said, look, they made really dumb moves. I'm saying if they're making really obvious stuff like it was 14 seconds left with no timeouts. They just kicked an onside kick against Dallas, and they played off 10 yards. And they only needed 10 yards to kick the field goal. So it was like so simple. I just said, line up outside, line up out of bounds. Don't even have anybody. You tackle them anywhere in the field, it's over. And afterward, Dick Duran says, well, next time if it happens again, I'll be ready for it. I said, well, if he doesn't know that, what else doesn't he know? But what do you think would happen if we traded Bledsoe for Brady instead? We got Brady instead of Bledsoe when we made that trade. They gave us Brady. Do you think that the reverse would have happened in the last 10 years, that New England would have had 7 coaches and Belichick would be looking like to play for Cleveland again or something, and that Greg Williams or Wade Phillips would have been here for 10 years and everyone would have thought what a genius these guys were? Right.
Well, what did we say if you just swapped
Brady?
Oh, no.
I said we got instead of getting Bledsoe, when we got Bledsoe, we got Brady because Brady was a rookie. Let's say we traded for Bledsoe never got his liver lacerated against the Jets, because if Belichick was such a genius, why was Bledsoe starting in front of him until he got his liver lacerated?
Yeah, exactly.
And then he never took him out. He didn't, he never stopped.
Well, I mean, he is a great coach. I mean,
no,
that's
but
how it is.
Yeah, well, he's considered a great coach, and he's done unbelievable. He's 35-0 against AFC teams at home. Now he's 35-1 because he lost today. And I'm glad he lost, and I'm glad he lost the way they lost so they could knock it out of the records. And that's why records are records. You ever see where the girl breaks her leg and she needed one more basket to have the all-time, so they make a deal with the other team where she could go up and do a layup and they can go do a layup just to give her the record? But that's why records are records, because people get injured. People, the last game ends up in the wrong time. It becomes a preseason game. But you have to win. It doesn't matter. You win with your best guys or your worst guys. You still got to win if you want to keep that record. So I am glad it was that way. And I don't really care how they win, as long as they win. And 9-7, they have a winning record. Hopefully next year they can improve again by 3 games, and we could have 12 wins, and we'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, and then as much as you can say about those small things that did equate to losses, and that the coach is responsible for that, what about the good things? The defense got better. I know that the defensive coordinator has a lot to do with it, but still, Marone has to be part of the hiring process. It's his vision, the team itself. He's responsible for everything. It seemed to just pick and choose what he's responsible for, which is only the bad. And when it's good, it never works. It's
one of
always
the things
someone
that I
else's fault.
really like what they've been doing is they're not afraid to make a lot of changes, in personnel. They picked up this Jerry Hughes. They picked up Charles Wynn. They pick up a lot of guys. The kicker has been a friggin' all-star. I mean, he's money in the bank, Carpenter. Yeah. Even though they drafted somebody and they thought he was going to be the kicker of the future, they were smart enough to hang on to him. At the end of the year, they pick up a guy that gets 2 interceptions against the Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay, the kickoff returner, Thigpen. Well, I mean, they've picked up a lot of decent players along the way. They got a couple of running backs, Dixon and
well, and what if if you say it's if it's the quarterback, and we don't have a first round pick, and there's a guy there, we do have enough to maybe sign a guy and trade to get into the first. I'm just saying,
you're not going to get a top 5 pick, because look what we had to trade away to get a top 5
pick. Isn't always the best quarterback.
Yeah, so that's the point. Maybe you can move up a couple of points, but look at Derek Carr. He was the 31st pick in the draft. We could have got him last year.
We could get him next year.
So maybe there's a Derek Carr in the draft. Maybe there's a Kaepernick. He was a 2nd round pick. Maybe there's a Russell Wilson. He was a 3rd round pick. Yeah. I don't maybe mixing those up, but they were 2nd and 3rd. Joe Montana was a 3rd. Brady was a 6th. So take a quarterback somewhere in the draft. Earlier the better. Maybe it's another Derek Carr. Maybe it sounds like we're doing our wrap-up. I don't know if we're going to do a wrap-up. We really didn't talk about the game here. Robert Woods had a nice touchdown. Dixon ran for a touchdown. Overall, it's been a good year. I don't know what else to say. Happy New Year, Old Lang Syne.
Yeah, a lot of sacks this year. Pretty exciting. A lot of letdown, because I think that's just the way the media, the Bills, they trump it up like we're going to be great. But if you would have paid attention in the off-season, the training camp, you saw that Manuel looked like crap. You saw that the line was very shaky. That would have told you 2 things. One, Manuel wasn't good enough to keep starting, and the line was going to have a tough year. Those 2 things happened, and we weren't able to score enough points.
Yeah, who knows, though. I remember last year against Cleveland when Manuel got hurt, everyone said if Manuel stayed in there, we probably would have won the game. He was starting to come around. He was starting to look better. Everyone expects, again, the 51-3 disease again. Everyone expects to be Jim Kelly and to go down every single drive. Today, Brady didn't look too good in the first half. He didn't throw for a touchdown. He didn't look that great. But deep down inside, he's got the ability to do it. You'll never really know with a rookie. You got to give him some chances. Sometimes it takes time to develop. And he really will. I don't know, is he going to develop in the practice field?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Can Manuel develop in his offseason and win it in training camp?
Yeah.
I hope he does.
I hope he does, and I hope he wins 12 games.
Great. Yeah, I hope he's great. I don't know. People want to say, oh, he's terrible, he's terrible. Now, in your life, have you ever gotten better at anything over time? Are you the same guy you are when you're 15? No.
I used to tell my kids, every time you throw the ball, you get this much better. And after the end of the year, 100,000 throws, you're this much better. So hopefully, it'll just, the light bulb will click and he'll turn out to be the guy. But we got 14 minutes on here now. So
oh, wow.
We've been going for a while.
All right. See you later.
Happy New Year. Go Bills. Hope they get a quarterback somehow, some way. They got to figure it out.